Hey everyone, welcome to Two and a Half Gays, the all-inclusive podcast for the modern-day millennial queen. My name is Dino.
I'm Quinlan.
Welcome back, everyone. It's been a time. It's been like half a year. What have we all been up to?
Well, if you didn't already know, we're in a pandemic right now, so there hasn't really been a whole lot going on, I suppose. Stuck inside, talking to people through Zoom, exercising. It's nice to be connected to people, but I'd rather be able to hug my friends and go to concerts again.
And what about you?
I've actually entered the retirement phase of my career. So, yes, I am living the dream. I've retired much earlier than expected, and I'm doing all of the fun retirement activities one would normally enjoy in the latter years of their life. Yet here I am, gardening, knitting, thinking how I'm going to spend my days that are remaining, all that good stuff. But tell me, Dino, how have you been passing your time in this pandemic?
I've been pretty good, my dude. I've been busy every day. I have to go out, and I really don't want to. I have an excuse to go out. I have to, clean the shop, but I couldn't be fucked. I'm so jealous of everyone who just gets to sit at home and watch movies all day. I really want to do that, but I can't. But otherwise, I've been alright.
And for those listeners who may not know, what type of store is it?
It's a secondhand bookstore called Past Tense Books. I came up with the name myself. I know, points for originality. We took it over because the old person retired, and there are literally thousands of books. It's too much, and we've just about finished, so thank fuck. Now, Quinlan,
Yes.
tell me, you've been watching Avatar.
Yes, I'm binging it. It's so good. I'm kind of upset that I didn't watch it when I was a kid because there's so many amazing social issues portrayed through the show and so many positive messages, I suppose, in general. It's just really nice, and the characters are wonderful.
You haven't finished it yet. Where are you up to?
I think I'm just under halfway through season 3, which is the last season, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is sad. But yeah, it's an amazing show. It's really good.
Do you plan on watching Korra?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to watch it because I don't want to end. I don't want it to end.
It's such a good show.
You both have seen it as well, haven't you?
I watched it last year. I wish I'd watched it this year when everyone else is talking about it so I could be part of learning about it all at the same time. But I will.
This is State of the Gay, the weekly news update for stories you may have missed that's happened in pop culture.
Most of our news will also be focused on queer issues and queer pop culture. So enjoy.
So the Ellen chaos continues. It seems like Ellen has fired 3 of her top producers and has tried to rectify the situation. Troye Sivan has released a new EP. It's really good. It's 6 songs, 5.5. Really good songs that everyone should listen to if you get a chance.
In more musical news, Miley Cyrus released a song called Midnight Sky, which is like an 80s rock type of song, 80s rock pop song. And the music video is really fun and colorful, and it's her first, widely released single since Mother's Daughter, which was early last year, which is exciting. I guess in other news, Kamala Harris has been the first African American and Asian American woman to be nominated as vice president, or I think maybe nominated as in such a high ranking role for the election. And she had a lot to talk about in her speech about Black Lives Matter and equality, and she talked about her personal experience with her mother being an immigrant from India, which was really cool. And the other thing is that obviously Joe Biden got nominated for president of the United States with the Democratic Party, and he talked about Black Lives Matter and climate change, which are 2 really big topics right now, which is really good to see, but people have different stances. On his speech, former President Barack Obama and Michelle Obama talked about denouncing Trump and how he's kind of dealt with America, especially the Black Lives Matter protests and the pandemic we're going through. So those are some highlights from that. The other thing I want to talk about, the Chinese government has been forcing abortions and sterilization for Uyghur people in China, and they're a community which are of Muslim faith. I think just recently in the news it's kind of been more widespread. It's been happening for years. The UK and the US and Australia have all been outspoken on the issue now, which is good to see, but not a lot of change can really be implemented because the Chinese government is very private and they see it as anti-terrorism by religion, which is ridiculous, obviously.
So are they currently being imprisoned or being placed in detainment?
Yeah, they've been detaining people, and people are comparing it to the Holocaust, where people have been put in detention centers and are being tortured for information and held against their will. And then the last thing is that a man in Wisconsin was shot in the back 7 times in front of these children. His name is Jacob Blake, and he was breaking up a fight between 2 women in the street. And he went to walk away when the police came because he didn't have anything to do with the fight. But they started following him and telling him to stop, but he just kept walking because I think he knows what happens when a black man kind of gets confronted by police officers in America. And he opened his car door, and the police officer like grabbed his shirt, and he wasn't resisting. He was like just walking, and then he shot him in the back 7 times. It's like another sad news title that's had to be made. The whole Black Lives Matter protests, which were doing a lot of good, and now this has happened, and this is terrible. And in Portland, the protests are still happening as well.
2020's been a heavy year and is really testing us all.
It has.
Yes, of course it.
Quinlan, what's brought you joy, or what have you been thinking about doing quarantine?
I guess one of the interesting things that I've kind of one of the interesting things that's kind of caught my attention in quarantine, and I guess has brought me some joy, is that I've realized how political TikTok is and how much information I kind of obtain from TikTok, which is really surprising because TikTok started off as something that I really disliked, and I've changed since then, and my opinion has changed of TikTok a lot, because in the previous episode you can listen to, which was Vine vs. TikTok, I was the advocate for Vine, because I said it was more iconic and it was more funny. And I think Vine is more iconic and it's more memorable than TikTok. The reason for that is just because there was like a cap on the information that was kind of on Vine and the cap on creativity, I suppose, whereas TikTok, there's so much more you can do. And it's such a bigger platform, I think, and people do so much more with it now. But TikTok has 800 million active users worldwide right now, and its net worth, its worth is $75 billion, according to PitchBook, which makes it the most valuable privately held company in the world, which is just insane. But I think that's changing because apparently Donald Trump has banned people from making money off TikTok, and for people, advertisers putting money into TikTok as well. So I think that's going to take a change unless Microsoft buys TikTok. But the main thing about TikTok is that it's political, and I think it's really positive because unlike a lot of other social media platforms like Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, I don't think young people are as engaged with political activity on those apps because, one, it seems really forced because a lot of it's done by political parties, it's kind of done by celebrities and big companies who hold the power and who kind of pay for their videos and their content to get bumped up to the top, and it's just very obvious that, they're kind of shoving it down our throats, I suppose. Whereas on TikTok, it's more user-friendly. Well, one thing is that politicians and political advertisements are actually banned on TikTok, so it makes the messages that people are saying more authentic, I think, and it's kind of an app for people. It's not used by celebrities, which is another reason why I think people love TikTok so much and follow political values on TikTok. Well, obviously I'm progressive and I'm a queer person who is half Asian, so my feed is kind of catered towards that. The reason I kind of that this came into my head was because I saw on my feed that progressive people were using the hashtag on 2020 to kind of put people of color and put gay people on that page, so that all the Trump supporters would just see a bunch of people who they were against, and maybe it would kind of change their mind on their stance. And when I went onto the page, it was actually all just progressiveness. It was all there was a gay Muslim person who had over 1 million plays on her video, or over 1 million likes actually on her video. That was the top video, which I think is so amazing. And I think it's just an amazing platform for people to for young people to get engaged, because as we know, with the last election, the main reason Donald Trump won is because there was such a lack in numbers of young people who voted. And I think TikTok is really changing that. Because when you're scrolling through TikTok, the video plays straight away. And people, you kind of have to watch. And it's not like clicking into an article that you have to read, which might take 15 minutes. On TikTok, you have 15 seconds, or 15 to 60 seconds to kind of create this innovative video to bring in your audience.
And does that remind you of, just in terms of values and its approach to politics, a lot of Tumblr? Because I know I learned a lot from Tumblr and people posting on that.
Yeah, I think that's really true, actually. Is it Tumblr? And even on your feed, it was this screen of bright, lovely artwork and articles and fan fiction. But that's very true. I didn't actually think about that. On Tumblr, I think on Tumblr, though, I didn't use Tumblr for that reason. So I didn't get a lot of that information. My Tumblr was more, it was not safe for work, and it was also more artwork, I think. It wasn't really a political thing. Whereas on TikTok, because the algorithm is so randomized, like I've had non-progressive things come up on my page, that aren't connected to progressive ties. Like it wasn't a duet video or anything like that, and it wasn't hashtagged with progressive words. But because I am progressive, I guess I can still learn about those things and I can just choose to ignore it. But I think because it's so randomized, it kind of forces people to gain knowledge on issues and the political things that are happening right now. You had to like follow particular accounts. Whereas on TikTok, I don't really bother following people. I just kind of go off my algorithm on my For You page.
I'm glad TikTok is doing something good in the world. I mean, I think it's great in general, but it's actually doing something useful, not just showing me dance videos.
I guess like other examples is that when Trump had his rally a few months ago, is that people on like a trend on TikTok popularized when they said to falsely, what do you call it? Falsely enroll, I guess, in going to his rally and then just not go. So it ended up that half of the stadium was empty, and that he set up a separate stage outside of the stadium for all of his followers, and that was completely empty as well. Which I think is hilarious.
They expected about 1 million people to show up, and it was mostly because K-pop stans and political TikTokers went on and said, hey, register for this, and it'll just screw up their numbers, which it did. And it's apparently one of the reasons why Donald Trump wants to ban TikTok.
And it's still going. Like I've seen so many videos where people say, if you're in a progressive state, sign up for Donald Trump's emailing newsletter, because then it'll make his team think that he's more popular in those states and that they don't have to push as much promotional material, which is really funny. I guess the other thing is that a lot of protests have been organized on TikTok as well. And it'll just say like which state you have to be in and where they're going to be and the numbers that they're expecting and like what supplies to bring as well. And obviously a lot of protest videos have been put on TikTok that I don't see anywhere else on the internet, really, unless it's an article. So I think the Black Lives Matter movement really lives through TikTok. And a lot of racist videos get put up on TikTok, like when someone faces discrimination. And something that's been really good, that has happened before, but I think is more mainstream now, is that those people who are racist in the videos, or if like someone's posted something racist, they'll get upheld by TikTok. Like, I don't know how they do this, but TikTok people or TikTok viewers will find this person's information who has said something racist or done something terrible and figure out if they're like a school teacher or if they work in the government or, even if they're just a babysitter, and they'll contact the employers and get them fired or, get them on a strike or something like that. Like I've seen so many of those videos on TikTok. I think that's really funny. On the other side of TikTok being problematic is that it does give the other voice a side, but I haven't really seen much of that because of my view I have. But I think the article mentioned how, I don't know what you guys think about this, is that there hasn't been much seen of people coming together. Like there hasn't been much discussion. It's been more arguing and it's been more that we're vilifying each other rather than actually having a middle ground, which I guess the other point of that is that should there even be a middle ground when most of the people who are on the far right side, are trying to take our rights away and trying to take away basic human rights and are sexist and homophobic and racist.
I think it's really hard. Like, I don't know if you could you be friends with someone who doesn't like gay people? It might be a bit difficult. So yeah, I don't know. Like, people are segmenting because it's harder to be friends with those people, and they make it harder by not wanting other people to have rights. And that's okay, I guess. Like, I don't know. You have to either change their mind or you just have to ignore them. There's not much you can do.
Yeah. And I guess the other thing that just occurred to me is that with like people spreading the news of progressiveness and the opposite, is that maybe it'll get people to decide on a stance, seeing like the racism or seeing the other side of it, which no one should really agree with. But because like there's so many people who are just in the middle, and maybe those videos being put on TikTok will really help people make a decision on their political stance, which would be really nice because more people in America need to vote.
Yes.
I guess the last thing I want to say is that the one really negative thing about TikTok is two things. One has been proven, is that apparently TikTok, they like the For You page is filtered, or they said was filtered by how attractive you were, your body type, and your race. And also like what your environment looks like. So apparently like if there were cracks in the wall behind you, somehow TikTok could analyze that and not put you on the For You page. And if you were black or larger or unattractive, so I don't know what unattractive accounts for, but they probably have a filter for that, like a some type of analysis app that would take you off the page. They said that moderators were told that with the Chinese app, which is really terrible. Apparently they've changed it, but I'm not exactly sure. With the For You page I have, I would say they've changed it because I do see those things on there, but I'm not sure. And the other thing that hasn't been proven that people have been talking about on TikTok, when a conservative person makes a point about something like sexual assault, with something like race, it usually doesn't get taken off the app. But when a conservative person talks about, terrible things that are taboo, it'll usually get taken off the app. And people have said that because TikTok is owned by, I guess, a less progressive country, a less progressive government, they're saying that that could be the reason why, which is really terrible. But it hasn't been proven, but it's just people have been comparing accounts and comparing videos that have been banned. And when people do duets and have arguments, usually the progressive person's video will get taken down. It might be the language. I'm not sure the progressive people use, or the way progressive people choose to express themselves. I'm not sure.
No, it's interesting. And it's hard to tell, obviously, because everyone's For You page is so different because it's just an algorithm that decides. So could you say like, oh, it's just so happens to be that all these people get what's called shadow banned, right? They don't actually get banned, but they just don't pop up in people's feeds. Yeah, we'll never know. Like it's like a black box. You can't see into it.
Yeah, exactly. I hope. Yeah. Well, hopefully, if an American company or a Western company buys the app, then it'll be a lot better. I guess that's what I wanted to say. And there's so many like amazing accounts on TikTok that spread awareness, and they'll like screenshot articles, like something like the Yemen crisis or something about global warming, and they'll put it on TikTok and explain it in a 60-second video instead of someone having to read something that they probably wouldn't. This is just one channel, and her name is Claire Beluga. So Claire with an I and Beluga, and she talks about a lot of climate change issues. And she really upholds a lot of companies and celebrities for being very problematic, just in terms of their carbon footprint. And that's just one amazing channel that I've found that I wanted to share. And she cites all her information, so it's not just a random 16-year-old. It's actually someone who does the research.
Who needs to read nowadays when I can just watch a 16-year-old explain to me? No, I get it. People live busy lives. Maybe they don't want to be watching the news. So instead they just get it anyway through their TikTok feeds while they're watching dads dance.
That's something that made me happy during quarantine, something that I learnt, that I found interesting, and yeah.
I don't care about TikTok. Vine was superior.
TikTok is currently the best social media app. Fucking fight me.
Maybe I'm just a boomer stuck in a Gen Z's body because I really don't understand the humor on the app.
It's so weird. It's so good. There's a really good TikTok, and it's 3 different people, and it's like the boomer, and the humor for the boomer is ha ha ha, I hate my wife, and then there's like a laugh track, and then the millennial is like ha ha ha, I hate my life, and then again another laugh track, and then the Gen Z is just like take me to your eggs, and it's just so weird.
I think it's just like, but when you think of Vine, like how chaotic was that humor? Like I'd show it to my mom and she'd just be like, what is wrong with you? Like this is not funny. And I think it's just like TikTok similar. The humor on TikTok is a little bit strange. But Vine was also really strange when you think about it. TikTok is a great app depending on what you use it for.
So this has obviously been a really stressful time for everyone. It's been a very stressful time for me. I don't think I've been this stressed since year 12 probably. I'm like relaunching a bookstore. I'm launching a website. I am trying to get my life in order. Doing a podcast. A friend wants to start a board game. So yeah, lots of things are going on at the moment. And one of the things that I found that has really helped me de-stress has been these Nintendo game music compilations they have on YouTube. They're like an hour and a half or like 2 hour long, just like huge sequences of music that they just stitch together. I find this super relaxing because A, there's no lyrics, so I can just be editing or writing and just have it on in the background. 2, it's very nostalgic for me. I used to play a lot of these games growing up, and listening to the music that I used to listen to all the time is very nice and calming, and oftentimes I'll just get teary-eyed and be like, oh, I remember when I like played so-and-so game with my brother, and yeah, it's just very nice.
How did you come across these Nintendo thing?
I don't know. So, like, Nintendo, for like maybe 5-6 years, has basically made them illegal on YouTube, or they've tried their best to ban them because they claim it's copyright. And then for whatever reason, they just popped up in my feed one day, and a lot of them are they're built around certain themes. So some of them are like I was listening to it before, like shopping, which is they get a bunch of different tracks across many different games that all have a theme or like the same style as what you might listen to when you're shopping. Another one is like they mix it in with ASMR type sounds, so it might be like rain. I used to listen to, there's an app you can get on your web browser called Noisily, and you can configure it so you can get certain white noise to play. Like, say you want thunder and rain, you can have that playing while you're just working away. Some people find it really relaxing. I do. Or you can get it like coffee shops and whatnot. So they mix up Nintendo music and those like, say, rain and whatnot.
Yeah, I listened to the one you sent and it was so relaxing. I'm the same. I sometimes play like storms when I want to go to sleep. And something that I actually found is that I bought my friend a Galaxy projector for her birthday, and it was just because they're really cool. But then in the description, it had this whole thing about mental health and how, because it also has sounds, how sounds and visuals can really help you de-stress and help you sleep and relax you, which is really cool. And I think people kind of forget that because we just kind of try to stay in darkness and in silence.
Yeah, no, I agree. And like, yeah, even just the Galaxy projector, that sounds really nice and cool. And if you're listening, like, just say you're out listening to, I don't know, birds chirping or whatever, it can often be really nice and calming. And then, so I was, enjoying myself, blah, blah, blah. Listening to it on Spotify, and then I came across this genre called Nintendo Core. It's a mix of old Nintendo like chip bit sounds and heavy metal, which is not relaxing whatsoever, but it's really good.
What the fuck?
Some people just really like games, and they also like heavy metal, so they just thought, meh, let's put them together, yo. And they did.
Both of those genres, as was talked about in the past on this podcast, have a large queer following. Heavy metal and Nintendo, right? Because isn't heavy metal like embedded in the queer culture with like the leather fetish and the spikes and?
Well, certainly there's queer elements in heavy metal, which was also a podcast episode. And I know a lot of queers that I know love Nintendo. I've been playing shit tons of Animal Crossing, and that also has helped me get through this. And almost every gay I know has either played it or wants to desperately play it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, like, I remember being on Tumblr, and even still on Twitter I see it, and on TikTok actually. Gay people, there's always like posts about gay people and Nintendo characters, like specifically Nintendo, not PS3, not Xbox. It's always Nintendo. Like they just love, and Pokemon, I don't know, they love those characters and queerizing, is that a word? Queerizing those characters. I think it's because there's something very innocent and cute about them, and I guess it's like, yeah,
nothing serious, it's all just playful and joyful, and most people played it as a kid anyway, so like you have good memories.
Yeah, and I think like because they're so cute and colorful, it kind of like queer people are drawn to that because it's a way of expressing ourselves. Like most of the PS3 and Xbox games are like serious shooting games, like, or like adventure games like Lara Croft or the zombie game, that really popular zombie game or something like that. Oh my god, you can just tell how gay I am by the things I don't know about gay.
The zombie one.
But yeah, I think that's probably why queer people are drawn to Nintendo and those like little characters like Sonic, pink, yellow, blue, and Animal Crossing. I want a fucking Nintendo Switch so bad, but I can't justify it.
But yeah, it's like if you're ever like stressed or whatnot, I would highly recommend these playlists. You can just play them for like, you can just have them on in the background. They go for an hour. You can even select certain songs. So if you know, like, oh, I remember listening to this, you can just quickly skip to that one. But otherwise, it's, just go for the ride. It's relaxing.
That's so cute. What a great way to de-stress from life. Thank you for listening to another episode of 2.5 Gays. You've been with Quinlan.
Dino.
You can listen to the podcast on Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube. That is all under 2.5 Gays. And we also have a playlist which is called Real Queer Artists that you can listen to. Thank you so much for your support. We're so excited to be back again. It's something we can really do in isolation, and we hope you can listen to our lovely, reassuring, peaceful voices as we talk about chaotic subjects again. Thank you next, and stay wappy.